Hey, welcome to Old Ass Movie Reviews. I'm Scott. There's Dave somewhere, and we are back with Star Trek again. This time, the third movie of the series, The Search for Spock. I guess Leonard Nimoy's contract looked good enough for him to return and direct even. This is a solid film, dude. Let me set it up real quick. When we leave Star Trek 2, Spock is dead. They have had a funeral, launched his corpse onto the Genesis planet. And for all intents and purposes, that's how the movie ended. And we all expected, holy crap, did Leonard Nimoy just leave Star Trek? Mm-hmm. But now we have The Search for Spock, and he is back.
Yeah, you come to find out that it was all a negotiation ploy.
I know, right?
Which is good for him, man. He did a good job.
Absolutely. He deserved every bit of it.
Real quick, I'll run down the list. William Shatner as Captain Kirk. Leonard Nimoy as Spock. DeForest Kelley, of course, as McCoy. James Doohan was Scotty. Walter Koenig was Chekhov. George Takei was Sulu. Nichelle Nichols was Uhura. Robin Curtis played the new Saavik.
Replacing Kirstie Alley, whose contract negotiations failed.
She decided not to come back for some reason, but I don't remember the reason why.
What I read was it was money. That she demanded too much, and they were like, screw you. And it could go either way, you know.
But that's me. Merritt Buttrick was David. Phil Morris was the trainee Foster, which was, I think, the guy who asked Kirk a question, if I'm not mistaken. And then everybody else is just minor characters for the most part.
Right.
I like this movie because it was a little bit different than the first two. First one was kind of dragged out and boring. Second one was loaded with action. This one had some action in it with Klingons, which was great. I loved it. Yes. I think it's the first time you see the Bird of Prey. So that was really cool. I mean,
that is such an iconic ship that you know, I'm watching it, and all I could think of is how disappointed I was when we were watching season 3 of Picard, and they did not steal this ship.
I would have just taken that one. That would have been easier.
It would have been so awesome.
The only ship for me that's a better ship than the Bird of Prey is a Katinga class destroyer for the Klingons. That's the classic design with the big nodule in the engine, and that to me, that's just a kick-ass looking ship.
Yeah. The Bird of Prey is an awesome looking bird.
I like that. I like that Sarek comes in and is asking Kirk, why didn't you bring my son back?
Yeah, really. It's like, what the hell? What's wrong with you?
Kirk's, I have no idea what you're talking about. He does the mind meld. He finds out that Kirk's not got his son's essence, and Sarek is sad. Like, he's just, and he apologizes to Kirk about, sorry, I thought for sure he'd find a way. Yeah. And they both realized, Spock would have found a way. If anybody would have found a way, Spock would have. So Kirk starts going through all the footage, all the security camera stuff, and he spots it. He sees what happened. Yep. They got to go get McCoy. In the meantime, McCoy gets arrested.
Now, this is what's neat. This is what they had enough forethought. I guess they had a feeling that Nimoy was going to possibly leave. And it's almost like they built this fail-safe in, because he just does a brief touch on McCoy and just says, remember. And we know what's going on only because we've seen The Search for Spock. And you look at that, having that moment in there makes it where they could do this. As this is how you bring somebody back. And I thought it was a lot of forethought went into making that happen.
Yeah, I want to say Kirk. That's not right. William Shatner tells a story about like them shooting that scene and doing all the stuff. And he's like, he's depressed that Leonard Nimoy's leaving. And he's like, "You're really leaving?" "Yeah, I'm leaving." "Yeah, you're really leaving?" "Yeah, I'm really leaving." And then he's like, I see him and the director or the producer having a conversation and, off to the side. And then they come back and they do that one little scene. And he's like, "That son of a bitch, he's gonna come back."
It's brilliant.
Yeah, it's really well done.
It's brilliant. One of the things that I find very noticeable of this movie is and this is not to discount Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan
Mhm.
at all, is the acting is on another level here.
Right.
Shatner is really solid in this movie.
Yeah.
And it's just everybody's on their game on this movie, and it's like this is it. Look at these guys. And of course, when we get into The Voyage Home, which is, who doesn't love that movie?
It's
And
a
the
bit of a
humvacks.
bit more of a romp. Yeah,
It
for the
is a
voyage
romp.
home.
It's a lot of comedy, and it's
Yeah.
the camaraderie and the comedy, and what you start to see, and that's why I so liked the last season of Picard.
Yeah.
When you have the team together, and that's what we're seeing now. Now they're melding again. They've been away from doing this show for 10 years, now doing movies, and they're back, and it's really cool.
Real quick, there's a scene where Uhura is in a transporter room somewhere on some base somewhere, like in the middle of nowhere. It's like it is a back room transporter unit. Like nobody goes there, nothing happens. And the kid that's sitting next to her is talking to her like, I can't understand how I
want adventure, blah, 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 or whatever.
You watch that scene. You watch how Uhura sits down when she faces that kid. It's the first time I spotted it. She sits down with her legs spread in her miniskirt, and she turns her chair and faces the kid. And I think that was a choice that Nichelle Nichols must have made to act like Uhura was trying to distract the kid, so he wouldn't see what she was up to. But the kid was so into, like, just trying to figure out why she's there, and like trying to, I'm in for adventure, and he's all about himself. He doesn't even notice that she's just got her, legs wide open and a mini skirt, just facing this kid. And I'm like, oh my God, that's so funny. I never noticed that. It was last night was the first time that I noticed, and I really wish I gotta read her book again and see if she mentions that scene, if she did that for a reason. Because I've read everybody's books about these movies. And
cool, very cool.
So I'm pretty well about kind of knowing who's who and what's what. But that scene was so funny. I just started laughing, and the old lady's looking at me. I'm like, look, and I rewound it. I was like, watch, and she's like, what? And I had to tell her. I said, look what she's doing. She's like, what? I said, she just has her legs wide open in a mini skirt. That's funny. And the kid's not getting distracted.
No, because that's what's neat about that scene.
Himself.
Well, he is, and he's also in the front of a legend. He knows
that's
about
what I mean. Like,
everything from them, and he's like, why are you here? Why wouldn't you be out? And but she's like, careful what you wish for.
Nothing she does is going to distract this kid from, you're sitting next to a legend. And then all the other legends come walking through, all these living legends. He's like, that's damn peculiar. She's like, whips out the phaser, get in the closet. I'll have Mr. Adventure eating out of the palm of my hand. I wish she would have been in it more. I think they needed her in this episode a little bit more. I think she should have been on the ship with them, but that's a small thing. That's a personal bite that I would have liked to have seen. Her reaction to Spock, especially knowing what they did with Spock and her in the new movies. It would have been nice to see her, because she is on the planet waiting when they get there. But it's nice to see her reaction. It would have been nice to see her reaction more towards Spock.
Yeah.
Knowing what we know now, at least in the alternate universe, maybe that's why Kirk never tried to hit on Uhura. And it explains why, but it's kind of cool. It was a nice scene.
Well, she's a neat character, and I do like that Strange New Worlds, which starts tomorrow again for the second season. Thank God it's coming back. I like how they approached Uhura's character there, showing her just kind of like brand new, and and so you start to get that build up, and you see that's what a lot of people didn't realize, that she served with Spock before. They have a bigger history than we are led to believe when you take a look at that. So, and
that's pretty cool, because when you see that part of their relationship, you realize how close of friends they really are, and that a relationship between the two of them could be possible. And it would explain why Spock was never in the chapel, but he's also in the chapel now too. So it's like, which is kind of cool. I like that.
And looking from the trailers, he's really into Chapel. So,
right,
but that's
exactly.
a trailer.
Boom. You know who I'm looking for, the Klingon. Like, then they don't have him.
Besides Christopher Lloyd?
Yeah, they don't have any of the Klingons. They don't have Christopher Lloyd listed on here, but they don't have any of the Klingons on here except for the Valkyris, Kathy Sheriff. But
okay.
Christopher Lloyd played a really good Vulcan. I just kept waiting for him to go 2,100 gigawatts.
Yeah, no. Marty! I want to talk about that scene with the actress you just mentioned, which was his wife in the Klingon commander's wife.
Yeah.
She had stolen the plans or got the plans to Genesis and had looked at them.
Mm-hmm.
And knowing that the punishment for that was death, and he carried it out with no hesitation at all. And that I thought that was a good scene to really show where the Klingons' mindset is. They are space Vikings.
Yeah. But I also liked how they showed his mindset. And then you had that second or third in command, Tor. I think it was Tor.
Yeah.
Who actually was going like, that's interesting. And they're like looking at him. Torg's looking at a bigger picture, like where most Klingons wouldn't. I think that guy's probably wound up an admiral at one point or something.
It's the seed of peace. And I think they even referenced that's in the works. That's starting right there. So and they're working it, and it's really cool to see. And we'll see that as the movies, especially when we get to 6 with the Undiscovered Country.
And if you had any doubt about this commander and how ruthless he was, he just gives the order to kill another hostage.
Oh,
that's in case you forgot that he murdered his wife and a shipload of people just 10 minutes ago. Just kill a hostage. I don't care which one. Didn't care if it was the kid. Didn't care if it was a Vulcan female. Didn't care if it was the human. Just kill one. It was going
to be Savick, but David stepped in and took it for her. But damn,
wasn't quite as good a fighter as his old man. Just not quite as trained.
No, not as trained. But that's what happens.
Yeah, which I was actually shocked in the theater when I was a kid watching that. I was like, "Holy crap!" I didn't see that coming. And then, of course, like you said, Shatner when he misses the seat. Oh, so good! Such a good piece of acting.
Everything is good in this. It's a fun one. It's very serious, but I think it was necessary to follow up the Wrath of Khan with this because having the Genesis device out there, holy crap!
And then it shows up in Picard.
Yeah, at Daystrom Station. They still have it.
Yeah,
they still have it. So along with Kirk's body. At Daystrom Station. That was a nice Easter egg from that. So, folks, if you haven't watched Picard Season 3, go watch and look at all the nice little Easter eggs hiding in plain sight in that. So, and I might have lost David just now, but you're back. Okay. Everything froze.
See you. I could see you. Yeah.
It froze. You were striking a pose. It was just Vogue. I'm going to go ahead and give my final take on Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock. I always make the joke that in 2, they launch him out of the Enterprise in a roach pod because he looks like a roach egg there, but it's a torpedo.
It does. Yes, it does.
No, I'm sorry. My brain's messed up. But it's a neat movie. It goes by really quick. It's a more serious movie. But it's just, you see everything start to come together. Now, I don't think I saw that watching it the very first time, but knowing where everything goes, you start to see the pieces, how it's woven together. Well done. Highly recommend it. Dave?
Good, tight script. The acting, the crew is back on their game. I mean, I think they really picked up the game in episode 2 for Wrath of Khan. They really knocked it out of the ballpark with this one. And in the next one, forget about it.
Forget about it. Yeah,
I absolutely recommend this movie, especially if you're a Star Trek fan. If you're not, go back and watch Wrath of Khan first, and then this one.
Yep, and get ready for lots of colorful metaphors. So, if you like our podcast, please hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the share, and tell a friend, tell your mom, whatever. Drop us a line. Thanks again for watching. Next week we will be back with The Voyage Home, Star Trek 4. Thanks again, folks, and we will catch you next week.